Good morning. Thank you for participating in another episode of Dubai's Daughter. I have Ms. Nancy White as our guest today. Ms. Nancy is the owner of the healthycellschick. And that's the name of the company, guys. I didn't make it up. So can you tell us a little bit about what healthycellschick is?
Well, good morning, Iman, and thank you so much for taking time today for us just to get together again. So, the Healthy Sales Chick is a business that I've had for about a little over 13 years. And just to back up a little bit, I left corporate America 38 years ago and have had different businesses, started from the ground up. Some, flopped, some that I've sold, some that, it's been that journey. But the Healthy Sales Chick really came about because of my heart and my passion for people to thrive, both mind, body, and spirit, instead of just surviving, Iman. And I do that in a lot of different ways. Again, we have to nurture all three of them. But that's where my business really started and evolved from. And there's some history behind that too, Iman.
Okay. We can get back to the history. Let's go ahead with the icebreaker. Have you had any experience with business etiquette, whether it was negative or positive?
I have had a lot of experience with business etiquette because I have been networking for over 18 years. And before COVID, all of this networking was in person. And I can tell you that the things, we always want to know what not to do, and as well as the things to do. So an experience that I've had probably more than once was when I have set up a one-on-one with someone to have get to know each other. And I walked into the coffee shop, and that person has gotten there first. They have their laptop all set up. They've got their PowerPoint all ready, and they are ready to make their presentation, Iman. And so I think, one of the things, I'm very permission based, and I'm not going to share information about my business unless I have permission. And then also I want to hear what's going on, with that person. So I will tell you that I have sat through some PowerPoint presentations because I've had good manners. That was earlier years. Then after, we get a little bit more seasoned, I can just really just share to say, you know what, this time is for us to get to know each other and to learn, who are good connections, who are good people to collaborate with. And so just, right up front, especially being a woman, because, women aren't too bossy, are we? We just want to just, we want to make sure that everything is out on the table and just going, the purpose of this time. And also the other thing, time, is that you had to put that border around your time frame, whether it's on the phone or in person. So business etiquette, I think, is being, really permission based and having manners, and being respectful of the other person. So yes, I've gone through a couple of times where there has just been somebody just sort of thrown up on me.
I'm sorry about that. And I do know exactly what you mean. If we're meeting, this is a get to know. There's no need for you to give me a presentation. Let's just talk. I can get to know you by what you say, your facial expression, your mannerisms, all of that, before you pull out your laptop. I understand that one. That's funny. That was a good one. Yeah. Okay, so we know that you're doing the Healthy Sales Chick, and I am one of your customers. Did you want to talk about some of the things that are involved in it? Like I know, for instance, there is something to help you with anxiety. We also know these are products that she has, guys. Something that helps with alopecia, something that helps with the digestive system. And if you don't want to, that's fine. But those are three things that I know. Mm-hmm. And And I like the one for the anxiety. I like that.
It is.
Yeah.
And Iman, that's, part of it. When we're talking about healthy, mind, body, and spirit, they're all linked together. And the way that we just really find out, just like you're saying, is that we have conversations with each other. I've got a little healthy quiz that, I can send out and people can evaluate themselves in 10 different areas, self-evaluation. And then everybody always likes to know how they rate, on different scales. And then it sends out some healthy suggestions for those areas. But yes, being around, and I've been a researcher for almost 40 years. It is, and I've raised children, so you get a really education with that too, when you've raised them to live to tell. But, helping people by just whether they're not sleeping well, whether they want to release some unhealthy weight, whether they want to build lean muscle, for the brain to be just, just right on target. I love helping people with all different kinds of things. I really have a heart and passion, Iman, for cancer thrivers, because my father died of a blood cancer when I was 9, and my older brother John died at 22 of a different blood cancer, leukemia. But both of them are curable now. But I love helping people to have hope, because even though we've gone through some challenges,
Yeah.
we get new bodies every 6 to 8 years, and you might as well make a new good one. And thus the healthy cells, and that CELLS comes about, because when our healthy cells are getting those 90 basic building blocks for a happy, healthy cell, then you have happy glands, happy organs, and it's a whole healthy body. So to answer your question in a long answer, I really love helping people to get to know them first and foremost, find out what they're doing right, because everybody needs to be encouraged when they're doing things that are right. Who
Yeah.
cheers us on for all the right things? I think people notice the negatives a lot faster, and that comes to light. And it takes 7 positives to overcome every one negative that we either speak to ourselves or somebody speaks to us. So I really think that, the things that I can share with people come from a life of living 68 years, but also researching for about 40 years. And it is a combination of putting some nutritional things in your body and doing some things that are exercising, sleeping, water, all those things. It's not any one thing.
Yes. Guys, did you all hear? She said she was 68 years old. First of all, if you're listening, you can tell that that she has the experience, but you can't tell in her voice that you're 68 years old. But you've got to see her. You've got to see her. You're absolutely beautiful, Nancy. I told you that from day one, right?
You're so thoughtful. Yes.
Absolutely beautiful. Everything about you, personality, what you're doing, your appearance, everything is very pleasurable. So
Well, thank you so much, Iman.
you're very, very welcome. So let's go back. In high school, did you know what you wanted to do with your life?
Well, I grew up in the day and time where the girls thought that you would just have to get out of high school, find the Prince Charming, and ride off on the white horse. And so reality came in really fast. But no, when I left high school, I wanted to go into computer science. And I did start into computer science. And then I turned that into business. And then from there, I've had different jobs. And then I was a researcher for the government for Mecklenburg County Personnel Department for years. And so I'm going to tell you, no, I really did not know that I would be doing what I'm doing today when I was in high school.
Yes. And then everybody says that same thing. I think as a younger child, if you
Mhm.
have um, if you have someone that supports you, parents, aunts, uncles, or something, they can nurture whatever gift if you can find that gift at such a young age. If you can find it,
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
maybe in high school or even before high school, you'll know what you want to do with your life. But anybody else, no.
I can remember, Iman, when you said that, I had a flashback when my daughter and I were going to different colleges for her to choose where she wanted to attend. And she said, what baby at 18 knows what they want to do for the rest of their life? And I could just identify with her. But there are some
Yeah.
that children, they grow up and they have these, gifts and talents, and they know, from the very beginning. It's like my brother John that died of leukemia. He was in the Navy studying to be a doctor. And all I heard when growing up was, I'm going to be a doctor, because we had a grandfather that was a doctor. And so John, that was his focus, was on becoming a doctor. And so, but I think the majority of people in this day and time really do not know what
We
they
don't.
want to do.
Now, did your brother become a doctor before he passed away?
No, after he discovered his own leukemia, he lived 2 years longer. And so, no, he did not get to complete that.
I'm sorry to hear about your brother. I know that had to be hard. I had a friend who passed away from leukemia.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is hard. And I imagine how hard it was back then, even.
Mm-hmm. And that was in the time too when it was still fairly new, and but that kind of leukemia that he had is now curable. So that shows you what science, and doctors do. They evolve. Not all medicine is bad. Even though we hear all the time about doctors are just writing prescriptions, for a lot of little different things. But there is some great research, and there's some things that are going on that are evolving, especially with childhood cancers too.
Yeah. And what I like about what you just said, the doctors, all the medicine and all of that. I love that part. But what I really, really like is that you found a more natural way.
Mhm.
So it's not just medication or prescriptions from doctors. You found a natural, at least a more natural way. So it's not too hard on your body. The things, the ingredients and all that, it's not too hard on your body at all. And people like me, that's what I need. That's what we need.
Yeah, we do. We need to get built up, naturally in combat. I mean, we're living in a combative stage right now. We're combating, all kinds of pollutions. We're combating all kinds of additives and, GMO things, and we're combating, viruses of all kinds. And so, I think living in a combative stage, being as preventative as possible as we can. And I'm a believer. I just think, what, we're going to do our best, and God's going to do the rest, Iman. And but there is a time and place again for medicine to step in, and when you've had an injury and you've torn something, or if you have some things that are going on. If your appendix ruptures, you're not going to leave it there and poison your body. And so,
And you're not take home remedies. No, you're going to go to the doctor.
Yes.
Hopefully, that's what you do. I agree with that as well. So, and not to date you, your age or anything. But my next question is, did you do any interns? And I don't know if there were interns.
Back in those days, we had candy stripers that could work at the hospital. So, but but as far as interns in high school, no, it wasn't had not evolved that much. There was volunteer work. There was, things that we could do for the community and things like that. But, as far as an internship, there was not a whole lot in high school the way it is now. I mean, high school students now could even take college courses, and by the time they graduate high school, they've already finished at least about a year of college. So it's changed a lot.
Yes, my daughter did exactly that, a year and a half before she graduated from college. So you're exactly right. And yeah, I know that the times are so different, but since you didn't have the internships and you brought up the volunteering, did you even do that? Was
Yeah, we
there?
did volunteering like at the Red Cross also. You could just go in or um, I guess, more the volunteering things we might have done through church sometimes, doing little missions trips or doing things like that. But always, reaching out and doing something, to help somebody else when you didn't get paid. And so to me, that is, I don't care if it was helping a senior neighbor to do something, go over and rake leaves or just do something, to help somebody just for the sake of being kind and not expecting any kind of monetary reward for it.
Exactly. I like that too. You're always involved. And even though you're not getting paid for it, you're getting something out of it. You're getting the fulfillment of helping someone, you know, and especially with the church. That's what the church is supposed to be for, fellowship and, and helping others. Yeah, I like that. I remember the church days. Sunday through Sunday. I remember that Sunday through Sunday.
Well, that's interesting because I didn't grow up in church. In fact, I really didn't even go to church until it was my father's funeral when I was 9. And so
Wow.
that was pretty much the first time I got into church and then started, participating. And so that was interesting that you mentioned that.
Yeah, yeah. We couldn't stay out of church.
Mhm.
Anyway, I want to go past that. So let me ask you, what's your level of education?
I've gotten through business school and graduated in through CPCC. And so, and then it's been a lifelong education ever since. I've studied with different doctors and scientists and things over the years. So I think life is a big education. It's a big school of education and hard knocks a lot of times.
Yeah, I like that, hard knocks. That's,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yeah. So there are two questions, and we talked about the company culture, business etiquette in the company culture, and I know that you said it a different way, and if you don't mind, go back and talk about that or add to it, because the question does not necessarily pertain to what you're doing now, but there was a way that you said it.
You mean with company culture, you're just talking about when you're working for a corporation, or are you talking about when you're working as an entrepreneur?
I think it's both. I really do. I think it's so. The question is, how do you think company culture impacts business etiquette? Now, that's either in the corporation or
Mm-hmm.
in your own company,
Mm-hmm.
like
Okay.
what you have, the people that you deal with on a regular basis, especially now that we're in Zoom land.
Oh, we're in Zoom land. We're definitely in Zoom land. Well, let's talk about the past first, and then we'll talk about the present. So, Iman, in the past, company culture changed a lot over the years because of things that you could and could not say in, a company settings. You know, you didn't talk about religion, politics, anything. Men could not make, forward remarks to women, and you definitely, there's no touching and all that. So that was a whole different kind of culture. But then as entrepreneurs, as business people, I think that's where manners and common sense and a lot of other things come into play. But I think it's interesting for the mindset too. Working for a company or a corporation is a lot different from working for yourself and being an entrepreneur. And because there's people that that are going to be out there that are just trying to get business, and they're trying to promote, and they're going through numbers as fast as they can of people. But I believe it's a relationship. It's one person at a time. I'm not Amazon. I'm not fulfilling things and just sending things out to people. So I think as far as in Zoom land and entrepreneurship, getting to know each other, because you know what, we get to pick and choose who we do business with. And if
Yes.
it's not a good fit and we don't feel like it's right, we need to be bold enough with manners, going, you know what, I think somebody else would be a better fit for you. And we can, I call it bless and release. We can, let people go. We can't want things more for people than they want for themselves. But
True.
manners is huge. When you're having one-on-ones with people, have the intention of getting to know them, finding out who it is that they need to collaborate with, who it is that would be a great person for them, to help their business first and foremost. Whether you get business or not, it doesn't matter. I think the mindset for this is personally is that, we are business people, we're in business. But when you do business, you're always doing something to help somebody else first and foremost. I mean, if you talk with somebody and they just had somebody that died, that was near and dear to them, they're not feeling great and they just might need to have some help. I had a friend years ago whose daughter committed suicide, and I just had gone through some training for suicide prevention through a corporation here in Charlotte, America, Health and Mind. But anyways, but they had a great resource for people that had experienced suicide in their family or close, and it was called Hugs. And so I knew that that resource that I had come across was for Carla. And so, when I talked with her, I just said, I know this time is really raw for you, but this is a resource for you to be able to tap into if and when you need it. And to me, that's what it's all about, Iman. It's about meeting people right where they are, knowing that, we all are in this one way life and we want to do our very best that we can. So that was a long answer to your corporation and your question. But I really believe, being respectful, allowing other people to go first and share. You were talking about listening. It's huge. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. So we need to listen to others. You'd be amazed at what you can pick up on when you're just listening. And, and it may not be a good time for you to even share about your business or something that you have as for somebody or somebody they know. But it's just a time just to be willing to be there for that other person.
Yes. And you know what it does? They remember that.
Mm-hmm.
They remember, okay, maybe we were supposed to do business, but it was at one of the worst times of my life. So you're always forefront with them. So once they get through the situation and let them come back on their own, because that's what they have to do. You don't follow them down because they're going through a situation, right? But they'll remember that kindness, right? I love that you went through the suicide program. I just did that this weekend. I just got my certification this weekend. Mine is with through QPR.
Okay.
And that's right here in Charlotte. I mean, it's like things that I knew, but things that I needed to be reminded of.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a great, great session. So I am very proud that I have that certification, especially with just in life, period, with every people that you deal with, but especially that I'm working with 15 through 17 females. Teens,
Amen.
the suicide rate with teens is just alarming.
It is. Since COVID, it's just gone up even further, the anxiety and depression. And even I've got one of my longest time clients I've had for over a decade, and her granddaughter's 12. And her anxiety levels are so high about, being in school and being all these things. But Iman, that's fantastic that you went through that. And now you can just really have that as a foundation to be able to let these other young gals know, especially what it is. And I've got a great connection for you too with another gal that has a nonprofit called Teen Reach. And
Yes.
that all came about because of her daughter's suicide.
Wow. That's fantastic. Thank you. Yeah.
We'll give you that later.
You. So we're pretty much wrapped up now. this wasn't long, but the information that you gave was so helpful, thoughtful. It was very, very clear what you're saying. I love that part. There's no pushing you into saying anything. There's no nothing. You're very well spoken. So, of course you are. But in Dubai's daughterland, I love that part because you're easy on the ears. You know what I mean? You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Once you start getting in, listening to the podcast, it's you command the attention just by the way that you speak and then the things that you say. I love that part. I do. I
Thank
just love Nancy. I love you. I just do. Ever since our first conversation,
you.
it's just been like this. And you're very thoughtful. They're everyday text and the checking on me and all of that. I love it.
Mm.
I know I'm going to edit this out. I know I am, but I want you to know that part. I look, I look forward to that. Some days I don't. So that's great. So I'm going to edit that part out. So my next thing, as we wrap up, Nancy, did you have any questions for us as Dubai's Daughter Organization, or any comments that would, for our audience that are the adults, or our participants that are the 15 through 17-year-old females? Just any experience or anything you'd like to share.
I think one of the things is so huge is communication, and just, between mothers and daughters or whoever. I think that's one of the things that so many people feel like, they can't be free enough or open enough or whatever it is. And, you know, the devil wants to try to shame you or wants to try to do something. Just knowing that you are not alone, that every single one of us are not alone. We have all gone through similar things, some harsher than others, some, that if we're still here, we are still here to help each other. And there's two or more. We're not alone. And I think that giving that safe space, Iman, that you were doing with Dubai's daughters, and just, they all women, I don't care how old you are, need to feel like you're not going to be judged, condemned, being ridiculed for anything, because you know what? My mistakes are just like anybody else's mistakes. My sins are just the same as anybody else's sins. And so I think what you're doing is huge, especially helping come alongside and strengthen that, because you're strengthening this generation that's going to grow up and pass it on to the next generation. It's not just for today what you're doing. And I think that's fantastic because, you know, who stops and even asks, a lot of young people, especially young girls, the things they're afraid of, the things that the unknown, the things that haven't even come about yet, or all the stuff that they're being bombarded with, through social media, through, um, bullying, all these kinds of things. But knowing that they have that safe haven and you're equipping them to be able to go through life, because it's just like that little duck, we have to let things roll off our backs and just flip our tail, things that just can be hurtful or can be, meant for evil.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I think you're doing amazing. And the communication is huge. Being able to feel free and peaceful enough to be able to ask any kind of question, to say anything without the perceived being judged.
Yes. Yeah, I've been judged.
Mhm.
And I'm not one to sit here and judge anybody else. I want to help, as I know that I'm here for a reason. I know that I'm here to help. I've been helping all my life. I'm a mentor. I didn't know I was a mentor, but I'm a mentor. I've been a mentor for years, and I have a mentor at my age. So,
I do
um,
too.
yes. So there's no judgment. We want them to learn what is necessary to go into the corporate world and beyond, because beyond is becoming an entrepreneur yourself. So, yeah. Thank you for your comments. And, I mean, I thank you so, so much. Guys, this is again, this is again, Nancy White, the Healthy Cells Chick. You really, really need to get with her as quickly as possible. I will post the information, as much contact information as I can, so you all can get in touch with her. So get ready to be bombarded, Nancy, okay?
Thank you, Iman. I'm so grateful for you, and I hope you have an amazing day. And thank you for doing what you are doing.
Thank you so much. So, guys, thank you again for listening to our podcast. Please check out our website. It's dubai'sdaughter.org. Our podcast is on 5 different platforms, Spotify being one of the biggest ones. Please hit the follow button. And we will speak with you all next time. We'll have another guest, but right now we have Miss Nancy White, the Healthy Cells Chick. And have a great day, Nancy.
Thank you, Iman. I appreciate you so much.
Absolutely.
Okay, bye.